it is time to sew the two tails together. So you will need some pins and optionally a washable marker. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take that last tail that you sewn on and lie it raw edges even with the quilt. If there's excess there, just fold it down out of the way. Then the first tail that you had left over from the beginning goes up and you lay it on top. Then you're going to take a pin and you're going to mark exactly at the end of that tail in the top layer only to mark where that tail ends. And optionally, you can use that washable marker if you don't want to use a pin. That's fine. Then you're going to take that bottom tail and you're going to open it up and lay it with right side facing up. Then you'll take the other tail, pull the quilt down, and you're going to put right side down. If this looks familiar, it's exactly the way you sewed the strips together in the very beginning. Now you're going to line that tail up perpendicular to the other one, right next to that pin or that mark. Now because of the fold lines, you've got some markings there. You're going to put a pin in diagonally down. There's that fold and there's a square there, so that you've got a center marking. So that diagonal pin is going to be your sewing line, and then you'll put a second pin in the bottom right corner of that, and that's your diagonal sewing line down the edge. Now this is your first check to make sure that it is not too long or not too short on laying on the quilt, and if it's just right, then you're ready to go. If it's not right, then you can take the pins out and start over. Now you want to bring your quilt and that last bit of binding to the sewing machine, and you're going to sew those binding strips together just like you did in the beginning. You no longer need that pin, so you can take that first pin out and then line up just like you did, and starting in the corner, you'll want to sew from the corner down to the middle of that little square. You can see where that fold line is. You're going to head right for the corner, and if you prefer, you can mark it with a pencil or a marking pen just like you did in the beginning. There you're in the middle of that box, and you're going to sew the diagonal from that center all the way down to the V of where those two pieces intersect. Make sure it comes right out on the V. That way your edges will be even. Clip your threads, and now here's where you get to check whether the binding is the right size or not before you've cut anything. So go ahead and lay it flat. If it's not too big or if it's not too small, then you're good to go. If it is, you can rip it out and start over. If it isn't, go ahead and trim your seam just by eyeballing it there, and now you're ready to go. After you have clipped your seams, you want to press that seam open and then press those wrong sides together to make it nice and flat. Take it to your sewing machine, and then you'll want to start where you stopped your stitching and do a little securing stitch, either by going back and forth a few stitches or use a securing stitch on your machine. Then you'll want to go ahead and sew straight down over that joined seam there all the way until you meet up with the beginning of your stitching. When you get to that point, again, do a back stitch or a securing stitch there to secure that seam and clip your threads. Now your binding is completely ready to go.